Well, let's take a look at what we got here. This is the fuse box that came with the engine because this wiring harness was already adapted to be a standalone harness. I have removed the relay for the fuel pump because I'm going to use the relay on the Factory 5 harness for the fuel pump activation. The engine harness and this box is getting power from the alternator, which is tied to the battery. The switched on 12 volt from the adapted harness is now tied into the Factory 5 harness here, which reads coil or EFI. Let's see. Coming off the engine harness says TAC, so I've got that tied into the Factory 5 purple wire for TAC here. For the fan relay, this is off of the engine harness here, and it's labeled electric fan number 1, and I've got that tied into the Factory 5 harness for the fan. So when the engine harness grounds out or sends a ground signal in order to turn the fan on, I had to do some research there. I've got a ground wire here. This is all just temporary. This wire here is the Factory 5 wire for the coolant temperature, and I have replaced the coolant sensor from a 2-wire to a 3-wire, so I can utilize the gauge. We're going to see if this works here. I have added a oil temperature sending unit into the block where I primed it, and that's the sending unit that came with the kit, and I've tied that into the wiring harness here, kind of low. Need to get it away from the headers, obviously, but that's going to be oil temperature. Let's see, I got the computer hooked back in. This little connection here, I'm not sure if this is going to work. This is tied into the oil pressure from the existing sending unit from the block. Now I know that this box does not need the oil pressure, and on a lot of swaps guys will pull that oil pressure sending unit out, the stock sending unit out, put one in there so we can go to the gauge. But I thought, or I actually read on a forum that you can tie in here to the oil which is a 3-wire oil pressure sensor. I don't know. So this is the Factory 5, goes to the Factory 5 gauge. I've tied into here. I need to do some checks to make sure there is continuity here and that this little temporary thing, these little temporary guys that I'm using are actually connecting these wires. So we'll see if that works. One other thing is this is the TAC module, and this is the wiring for the TAC module here, which I had to redo because the directions were not correct and they were not clear. So I had to go actually find the pinouts for that TAC module, which is highly recommended. I'll put a link to this in the description, but it's got all of these pins. Here's the ODBD2, which I had to troubleshoot a little bit. But I found the TAC module schematic in here. Here's that oil pressure sensor, 3-wire, and I tapped into that EOP signal. I don't know if that's gonna work, but we're gonna see. Anyway,